Learn how to let go of your unhealthy thinking patterns and your damaging emotions in order to live the life you truly want and to be the person you truly want to be. In this video, we will dive into the three voices within yourself: your head, your heart, and your gut, or your thoughts, your emotions, and your intuition. And by understanding those voices better, you will be able to deal with them in a way that is benefiting you instead of overwhelming. Hello, I'm David, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, firstly, you have to differentiate those voices within yourself. We have the head, the ego, which can be very, very loud at times. It's almost like it screams at you when it has too much control or when you find yourself in a state of constant overthinking. You really can't perceive anything else. So if that's the case, you have to find ways to shut it up. Plain and simple. Do this with yoga. Breathwork is great because it brings you back in your center. Read, write, engage in creative endeavors. Work out, do yoga. Whatever it is, feels right to you, find ways to get out of that state first, because that will enable you to listen to your other voices then. So the logic approach has its beauty of its own. You know, sometimes I hear a great speaker talking and making a well-rounded argument, and something clicks in my head and I just think, whoa, you nailed that. You hit it right on the spot, and that can be so beautiful. I get goosebumps then, you know? So logical reasoning is obviously so important in modern life. You know, it helps us to solve complex problems. It can help us recognizing reoccurring patterns or to strategize to get to our goals. But you know, our mind is a tool and it should be used as such. Because the ego is a good servant but a terrible master. It tries to get control over you. And if you give in to that, you are being a lot in your head, and this will be causing a disturbing and disbalancing state. So the ego, it builds up walls left and right in order to protect you. But what they're actually doing, those walls are limiting you. Such as, I'm sorry to say, your monkey brain. The amount of sensations you're able to process with it is limited as well. Per second, we receive 11 million bits of information, of sensory information. Do you know how many of those bits of information your brain can actually perceive and work with? 40. 40 of 11 million. Everything else goes straight into your subconscious. So the next point I want to make is brains are overrated. I know, it sounds crazy, but that's the case. Brains are overrated, and I give you an example. This is a study I got introduced by Tony Robbins, and it's conducted by John A. Barth and his colleagues, in which participants have been given either a hot or a cold coffee to hold while they got introduced by strangers. Those strangers were actors who played the role similar every single time. And afterwards, the participants were asked to rate the personality of those strangers. And the findings were, when a participant had a hot coffee, he was more likely to rate the personality of the stranger as warm, kind, trustworthy, loving, and if he had a cold coffee, as less friendly and colder. So what that shows us is how easily we're actually getting influenced, and by the weirdest kind of stimuli. So it is incalculable. And let's be honest, human beings are so easily manipulated. That's the truth. So you cannot just trust on your logic, because if you do, you will lose the connection to your emotions, you will lose and therefore fuck up your relationship, you will lose the connection to your intuition, and if that happens, you will become a German. No, not really. But Germans are a logical bunch of people. But you will become miserable. That was what I wanted to say. So your thoughts and your emotions should be in balance. Your head and your heart. Like even the old Greeks already understood this. They coined the term the logos, which stands for a divine order for communication and for rational reasoning. But this divine order of the logos has its counterpart and its balancing force in the eros. And the eros stands for our emotions, for our passions, for our desires, for creative expression. And just by balancing these two parts within yourself, you can have a more holistic view on your reality. So next we're looking into the heart. The heart speaks the language of love, compassion, of desire, of passion, of connection, and it is where our values reside. It's constantly striving towards harmony, unity, and creation. This voice is driven by feelings, positive such as the negative ones. And it represents our deepest core, the self, the essence of what we truly are. I found when I followed the voice of my heart, it brought me to magic places. But it can be reactive as well. Emotions can become quite powerful, and if you don't watch over yourself, you can make, in this high emotional states, terrible decisions that you will regret for a long time. I mean, when I think about what stupid things I did for love or just to get laid, it's like I completely abandoned myself. I destroyed and betrayed myself for nothing. But yeah, an overwhelming emotional state, it has the potential to make you blind on many different areas, or probably on all areas, except on that point that you are constantly have your attention on. May it be a woman or whatever. Yeah, I stick with the dating example for now. But if you want to get out of this, you need to let go of that emotion. And how to let go of these emotions, especially in this high emotional states. Yeah, obviously it's not so easy, but I would recommend to do the technique from Dr. David R. Hawkins, who wrote the book Letting Go. It is actually quite simple. First, you have to recognize the emotion you're feeling. Second, you have to accept it and to feel it. You have to really let it be there and completely get into it, because you need to feel it to heal it. And afterwards, you just decide to let it go. I know it sounds way too simplistic, but some things are very simplistic. And yeah, if you are in a very painful state, you probably have to let it go many times. But yeah, this technique works. Another thing that works are the tools from Phil Stubbs, if you want to let go of these emotions, or more like alchemize and transform them into different emotions and to tap into your power. I made a video about the tools, and I will link it in the description down below. I can strongly recommend it because I use them all the time and they transform my life. So such as your ego, your thoughts, your emotions can take over the control over you as well. Another danger when it comes to the voice of your heart is to simply follow your pleasures, to follow your hedonistic parts. Let me say it like this. And in principle, there is nothing wrong with hedonism, It is healthy to some degree to engage in pleasures, to have sex, for example. But you shouldn't just strive just towards your pleasure, because it is a hollow goal and it will collapse eventually. You can never have enough sex. The more you have, the more you will want. So at least that's the case for me. I don't know if everyone is like this, but I'm definitely like this. So when I just focus on these kind of hedonistic pleasures, it always takes more than it gives. And the question is, how do you follow your heart in a positive way? And I would say, try to find your passion. And if you don't know what is your passion, follow your excitement. And if you don't know what you're excited, follow your interests. Those are like the 3 levels. And if you don't know your interests, then try things out, for God's sake. But I'm a very open person and I have a lot of interests. So I had to try out much of different things until I realized what I'm truly excited about. And, no one knows where our interests are coming from. But they aren't there by accident. They are there for you to follow so you can find your calling. I mean, some people will come up with the argument, is it nature or nurture? But I feel it is sometimes so out of place, the interests you're having from your environment, that I perceive it as the divine calling. So by following your excitement, you will find your passion. And this will be fulfilling in a complete different way than any hedonistic pleasure ever could. Because, this is the difference in desire. And you should always and regular check your goals. Are they coming from a place of the ego? Are you just doing something for social status or money or some kind of, ego wishes? Or is it actually coming from your heart? Is it really a wish that comes from your heart? Because if that's the case, you will be fulfilled when you get successful. And Tony Robbins always said, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And there's a lot of truth to that. So the way how I perceive it is we have our energy field, and emotions and thoughts are different kinds of free-flying informations, such as ideas, for example. And with our antennas, we are getting it in. So while they enter on that road, we can, especially at the first time, easily resist them. They don't get any power of us if we don't decide to give it to them, because nothing has a built-in meaning other than the meaning we give it. And that's actually true for everything in our reality. But maybe it hit a nerve, or it, gets on a form of trauma or some other complex structure, and we decide that this is more important and we let it enter the system. Maybe it's been said by someone we value the opinion from, and then it enters, and then it's there and works. But the fact that you can easily resist it in the beginning is a sign for me that they are not originating in yourself, but rather try to enter you. And this is similar of what Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now describes, that you are yourself. And when you watch yourself from a third perspective and watch your thoughts, you're not identifying with them. And the same with emotions. You are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions. They are just a form of information that enters you. And it can always be reframed. There's no such thing as the truth. There are 8 billion truths in this world, and they're all correct. So what I wanted to emphasize is it makes sense to put thoughts and emotions in the same category because they are balancing out each other. It's the same with in a relationship, for example. There is the masculine energy and there is the feminine energy. And the masculine energy, which doesn't have to be the man, by the way, the masculine energy, it provides the frame, the order for the feminine energy to be safe and chaotic. And that's kind of how I perceive the connection between thought and emotions as well. Our ego, it provides a frame, and our emotions are more stronger, but more chaotic as well. Anyway, that was just a little spiel on my side. I would love to hear what you guys think about that. But yeah, now I come to the core of this whole video, which is, and you probably already know, our gut feeling, our instincts, our intuition, our primal knowing. This deep source of inner wisdom that warns us from danger, that tells us when something is odd about a person, that helped us surviving for thousands of years. Why do I think listening to our gut feeling is so important? Because as I mentioned before, we are consciously perceiving 40 of 11 million bits of sensory information per second. All the information goes into our subconscious, and our intuition is the language of our subconscious, which has a way bigger data pool to give messages from, to make decisions from. Like, it is having this sense of what is right and wrong, and it's usually not logical. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't need no further explanation, because it is more like a knowing. And it does know better because it has so much more information. So by following your intuition, you will get insights about yourself and the world that you would have never gotten when you would have ignored it. And by the way, ignoring my intuition is something I always regret. And many people I know tell me the same. You have that first feeling, you ignore it, maybe a red flag in somebody, or whatever the case it may be. And in the end, you just think, why didn't I listen to myself? Why didn't I listen to my intuition? So to sum it up, our thoughts and emotions are interconnected, and they influence each other. It's important to listen to them, but it is important to contain them as well. While our intuition comes from a much deeper place. Yeah, you have to be crazy sometimes to listen to your intuition and to follow that voice, but that's exactly how you develop character. That's how you become who you are supposed to be, and who you are truly, you are yourself. There was no English, doesn't matter. So by following your intuition, you will put yourself on the path of self-actualization and self-realization. Yes, it will be rough, but in order to create this dream life, in order to really become who you truly want to be and to fulfill your calling, you have to take risks. No one said the process of individuation will be easy. You don't want to play the safe game all the time. The easy road will be the hard road in the end. But it's the best thing you can do in this world, and the best thing you are able to do with your time. And there could be nothing more fulfilling than this. Or on the other hand, never listen to your intuition. Just follow the program of society. Get into a company, work your ass off for 40 years, and just do it because everyone else is doing it. But I think the probability is quite high that you will regret this big time. And you will start this process then just later. Like with 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, it doesn't matter. Sooner you start really to listen to your intuition and to balance your head and your emotions, the sooner you can get on the path to truly become who you need to be, who you want to be, and to have the life that you deserve and the life that you want to be. And I wish you from the bottom of my heart that you will be able to do it. So, that was my video. I hope it was some kind of value in there for you. And I would love to get some comments of you guys to hear what you think. I love talking with you about it. I read every comment, I answer every comment, and I'm very grateful for any kind of feedback or opinion you guys give me. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe, do the bell, you know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. And if you would like to watch a video on the question, does God exist? I will link it here. Does God exist? That seems to be the question for a lot of people. So let me answer this right here, right now, very quickly. The truth is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it is the wrong question.